Hamas Chief Ismail Haniyeh is reportedly to visit Egypt today for talks on a potential ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and a prisoner exchange deal with Israel. Haniyeh will be heading a high-level Hamas delegation to Cairo, where he is due to hold talks with Egypt's intelligence chief Abbas Kamel. Discussions will be on stopping the Israeli aggression and also preparing an agreement for the release of prisoners. And this comes after the trilateral meeting between the heads of Israel's Mossad and US's CIA with the Qatari premier in Warsaw. These talks were positive, but a deal does not appear to be anywhere close. Haniyeh's visit will be his second one to Egypt since the beginning of this war on the 7th of October. Israeli military has released more videos showing its forces and also its bulldozers pulling down a building that they claim is a Hamas monument, marking the 2014 Gaza war. The 2014 war had broken out after Hamas fighters had kidnapped and killed 3 Israeli teenagers in the West Bank. In retaliation, Israel had launched a 3-week ground invasion into the Gaza Strip. In the aftermath, Hamas had erected a statue of a clenched fist. An IDF spokesperson has said that their actions are a symbolic blow to Hamas, which has been using the site as a rallying point. Jordan has sent a new aid shipment to Gaza via Egypt's Arish airport. That's a total of 26 aid planes that have been sent by Jordan to Gaza. The Secretary General of Jordan's Hashemite charity organization has said that many obstacles still persist to sending and also multiplying aid to the displaced Gazans. The officials have said that the Rafah crossing is the only functioning border point, but it is creating a problem that's been made worse by Israeli restrictions on the number of trucks that can enter into the Gaza Strip. Last week, Jordan's Princess Salma bint Abdullah II airdropped medical aid to the Jordanian field hospital in the Gaza Strip. The Colorado Supreme Court has declared Donald Trump as ineligible for presidential office under the U.S. Constitution's insurrection clause. The court has now removed the former U.S. president from the state's presidential primary ballot. The move sets the stage for a likely showdown in the nation's highest court to decide whether the GOP frontrunner for the nomination can still remain in the race. The court order of Section 3 under the 14th Amendment being used to disqualify a presidential candidate is the first ever in American history, and Trump's attorneys had promised to appeal any disqualification in the nation's highest court. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul has authorized a commission to consider repatriations for the state's role in historic discrimination against the African Americans. The commission will study the institution of slavery, which was abolished in New York by 1827, and its impact on the black New Yorkers today. The 9-member commission will be required to deliver a report a year after its first meeting. Its recommendations could potentially include monetary compensation, but it would be non-binding. The panel's findings are intended to spur policy changes, programs and projects to remedy slavery's harmful impact. New York lawmakers and civil rights activists have hailed it as a key step towards confronting the state's legacy of slavery and also the racial gaps in wealth, housing and employment amongst New Yorkers in present times. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has responded to an American indictment stating that an Indian diplomat had directed the attempted assassination of the Sikh separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu on American soil. In an interview to the Financial Times, the Indian Prime Minister said that India will look into any evidence that is presented to it. He also added that the incident will not derail the India-US relationship, which he insisted is growing stronger. The Prime Minister Modi has also asserted that India's commitment is towards the rule of law. Earlier, New Delhi had set up a high-level committee to investigate the allegations that have been levied by the United States and said that it will take necessary follow-up action. In a pivotal move, the French lawmakers have granted their final approval to a controversial immigration bill. Now, the approval has also secured a policy win for President Emmanuel Macron. The bill is a compromise that is forged between Macron's party and the conservative opposition. The vote has also exposed the delicate balance in Emmanuel Macron's centrist majority. The bill is a mix of measures that are aimed at expelling more undocumented people and also improving the integration of migrants. It facilitates the regularization process for undocumented workers, while also providing greater scope for deportation, especially for foreigners who commit crimes. The bill also addresses the simplification of immigration litigation, while fast-tracking the process of migration. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he is confident that the United States will not betray his country by withholding crucial wartime funding as it continues to fight Russian invasion. The aid for Ukraine has been held up by the Republicans in the US. And this comes as the White House has warned that aid will in fact run out by the end of this month if it is not reviewed. Now, Zelensky has further added that financial assistance is key to Ukraine's defense from Moscow's full-scale invasion as it nears the 2-year mark and has shown no signs of slowing down. The Ukrainian president has also expressed that he hopes that the European Union will approve the €50 billion aid package pretty soon. Ukraine also hopes to fill a $43 billion budget deficit next year, mostly with foreign aid. And over 15,000 protesters have joined demonstrations in Slovakia's capital against the government plans which aim to fast-track criminal law that includes scrapping a special prosecutor's office focused on corruption. The Prime Minister Robert Fico attempts to speed through the proposals in the parliament that include removing a special prosecutor's office for high-profile corruption cases. The European Commission has also warned that it will take actions against Slovakia if it violates EU laws. And four-time Prime Minister Robert Fico has accused the Special Prosecutor's Office of being politically motivated and has said that its actions violate human rights. The government had sought to enact the legislation by Christmas, but government officials have said that a vote will most probably be held in the month of January. And hundreds of Serbian opposition supporters continue to rally outside the State Election Commission building in Belgrade by going on a hunger strike. They're chanting treason and also waving placards that read, "Serbia is in the dark." The demonstrators demanded that the recent snap parliamentary elections to be rerun. And this comes amidst accusations of voter registration fraud, bribery and also result rigging. An international monitoring mission had said that the country's ruling Serbian Progressive Party had gained an unfair advantage in the election through media bias and the improper influence of President Alexander Vučić. And the World Health Organization has classified the JN1 coronavirus strain as a variant of interest. However, the health agency has also expressed that the new strain does not pose much threat to public health. JN1 was earlier classified as a subpart of its parent strain BA2.86. but now it has been classified as a separate variant of interest. The doctors and virologists have suggested that the variant is either more transmissible than the variants in circulation or has evolved enough to evade our immune systems. According to the WHO, 1,900 new cases have been reported worldwide in the last 7 days alone. The UN body has also reiterated that the vaccines administered during and after the pandemic will continue to protect against all strains in circulation at the moment. New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon met with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese in Sydney. During the meeting, Prime Minister Luxon expressed that he would in fact look into the benefits of AUKUS Defence Pact. Luxon also said that AUKUS weapons development and procurement project between the US, Britain and Australia will help ensure peace and stability in the Pacific. The New Zealand Prime Minister, however, has reiterated his country's nuclear-free stance, which he said is non-negotiable. On the other hand, the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said that his country will continue to deepen its trade and economic ties with New Zealand. The US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has said that Washington has not received any information on jailed Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny's whereabouts. The Navalny's allies, who had been preparing for his expected transfer to a special prison, have said that they have not been able to contact their lawyers since the 6th of December. However, Russia's prison service has said on Friday that Navalny was being moved to a new prison in another part of the country. The Navalny, who rose to prominence by criticizing the Russian President Vladimir Putin, is sentenced to 19 years in prison on charges of corruption. And the Guinea government has warned that citizens should brace for power cuts. And this comes as the country is grappling with the aftermath of the deadly explosion at an oil terminal in the capital city of Conakry. Now, according to government data, the oil terminal blast killed 14 people, while over 190 were left injured. The power plant also served as the West African nation's main oil terminal, and the government has said that 13 fuel storage tanks were out of service, while 5 tanks were unaffected. Now, most of Guinea's power plants run on diesel. Guinea is not an oil-producing nation and relies on imports of refined products. Now, the extent of the fallout from the blast is still not clear, and whether mining operations will be affected in the world's second largest producer of bauxite is also not clear. The Peruvian authorities have seized 4,000 live turtle specimens bound for Indonesia. According to the National Wildlife Service, authorities sprung into action after detecting anomalies in the shipment's documentation. And amongst the thousands of turtles that have been seized at the George Chavez International Airport, the authorities found 463 turtles of the Charapa species. Their legal origin could not be confirmed. Following the seizure of the turtles, all animals were handed over to temporary custody to an authorized breeding center in Lima. And lava continues to spew from a volcano in southwestern Iceland that erupted late on Monday. The Icelandic Meteorological Office has said that the intensity of the eruption is decreasing. The government officials have also said that lava from the eruption appears to be flowing away from the nearby town of Grindavik. And this is a positive sign, as this may spare the homes and other infrastructure in the region from any critical damage. However, it is unlikely that residents will be able to return to their homes anytime soon. The local officials have said that the area is closed to all traffic as emergency responders and scientists assess the situation. And officials in the South African town of Simon have reported a bushfire that is rapidly spreading to nearby settlements, and authorities have said that they have not ordered an immediate evacuation, but the blaze is closing in on properties that can pose a threat to the residents. The authorities are said to be monitoring the situation very closely. The videos posted on social media platform X shows flames at a distance and heavy smoke filling the air. And heavy rain has paralyzed several parts of India's southeastern state of Tamil Nadu, inundating roads, affecting train services and also leaving the authorities scrambling to rescue those who have been stranded. At least about 10 people have been killed so far amidst the difficult situation. The Indian tri-services, that is the Army, the Navy and the Air Force, have come for the rescue. They've rescued an estimated 1,000 people so far as part of a challenging operation. And according to the state's weather department, Tamil Nadu has received almost about 50 millimeters of rainfall between the 17th and the 18th of December, in comparison with 2.5 millimeters that would be normal at this time of the year. The bankrupt crypto exchange FTX trading has announced a settlement with liquidators for FTX's Bahamas unit, resolving a long simmering dispute over whether the company's US bankruptcy proceedings should take precedence over the Bahamian liquidation. The FTX and FTX digital markets have agreed to pool their assets and to harmonize their approach to valuing customer claims to ensure equal treatment for customers in either country's insolvency process. Now, according to FTX, the settlement will allow most customers of FTX.com's international crypto exchange to choose whether to seek a repayment from either the US bankruptcy or the Bahamian liquidation process. And Australia's competition regulator has said that the federal court has ordered Airbnb to pay $10.1 million American dollars in terms of penalties and up to $15 million in compensation after the vacation rental firm has admitted that it had misled consumers on pricing for accommodation in the country between January 2018 and August 2021. Airbnb Ireland, which operates in Australia, has admitted that it had misled consumers by displaying prices using only the dollar sign, without clarifying that the prices were in American dollars and not the local currency. The People's Bank of China has kept its benchmark loan prime rate unchanged at record lows, with monetary conditions set to remain loose for longer as China is struggling with slowing economic growth. The central bank has left its one-year rates at about 3.45%, while the five-year rates, which are used to determine mortgage rates, was left unchanged at 4.20%. Now, both rates were at historic lows after three cuts over the past year. On to some entertainment news now. Britney Spears has shared a picture of her home gym, which she accidentally burnt down 3 years after the incident took place. She captioned her post saying, and I quote, "Reflecting back, remembering when I burnt my gym in 2020. The pictures show a charred gym and also a burnt workout equipment. Spears had earlier revealed that unattended candles were the reason behind the gym burning down. Hollywood actors Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones visited Kochi along with their kids as part of their South India tour. The group was spotted at the Broadway synagogue. They spent some time inside, and Douglas even sang a Jewish song while at the synagogue. That Douglas's father was Jewish, the actor started identifying himself as one much later on in his life. Douglas started touring India after he was awarded the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at the International Film Festival. The Lizzo's legal battle with her former clothing designer Asha Daniels continues. The singer's lawyers have challenged a harassment and a misconduct lawsuit that was brought forward by the designer. Daniels had worked on the singer's special tour earlier in the year, and she also claimed that she had ended up facing a culture of racism and bullying while working for Lizzo. The allegations have come weeks after the musician was accused of harassment by 3 of her former backup dancers. However, Lizzo has called the lawsuit as meritless and salacious and has said that it had been filed by disgruntled workers who had been fired after just 3 weeks on the job.